Fantastic. Good afternoon, good morning. How are you doing, Scott? Nice to see you. Thanks for joining us here on the Double Shot.
No, appreciate it, Stephen. Thanks for the invite, mate. Great to be here.
Awesome to have you, man, and thanks for joining us. Yeah, in the Coa Collective. Obviously, I'm super excited about this chat actually because it's covering PPC, which is not a topic that we've spoken much about in the Coa Collective. We've tended to stick more around media and social media and platforms and news and stuff like that. So the more technical side of digital marketing, well, I say that, you really do need to have an analytical mind and a bit of a technical mind to get into the SEO world and the PPC world and be great at it. So I'm quite excited to delve into that a little bit, particularly around what you suggested around trends for 2021. A lot going on there, I suppose, hey?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's been an interesting year, and I'm sure that everyone can relate to that. And I think one of the things that's super exciting is actually the way that PPC specifically has changed over the last just 12 months and what we expect is going to happen in the next 12 months and moving forward. And really my goal is just to hopefully help people to feel a bit more relaxed about it. And I try and get rid of some of the sort of the ideas of fears around PPC and just hopefully help people feel a bit more relaxed about offering it to their clients and their customers and feel a bit comfortable with it.
Yeah, cool. And I suppose, there's a bit of a perception around particularly SEO and PPC that it's always going to be the same. Nothing really changes. We don't know much about the algorithm. So just keep plugging away at the best practices and you'll get results. And then you get results. So you think, okay, let me carry on. But there's actually quite a lot going on that's changing. And I think what you've just described about a lot of fear amongst agencies wanting to start offering it to their clients, that is definitely then something that I know a lot of agencies struggle with. What would you tell those agencies? What would your advice to them be to get them going?
Yeah, so I think with PPC, there is that conception that it is difficult, it's a hard thing to work within. And yes, I completely agree. There are a lot of things and a lot of details you should know. But the good thing about PPC is it can be predictable. You have to be on top of it. You have to be making sure that you're constantly aware of the campaigns and things that's changing, but it can be very predictable. And once you get success, you can replicate that. And that's one of the good things about PPC. Similar to SEO and similar to Facebook, but again, it's same with PPC. And I wanted to sort of highlight that and go through it.
Yeah.
Again, just something to sort of highlight is the changes that we've seen in PPC over the last 12 months in specific campaigns and accounts that we're working within, and how that's changing over the last 12 months has been really exciting.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I think and I suppose that's what we want to talk about, those sorts of changes and trends that are coming for 2021. So one of the things I know that, for example, that stops a lot of agencies from getting into PPC is the fact that, it's money, it's expensive, it's not cheap, it's not free like SEO is. But what can we look forward to in the new year, and what should agencies that are already doing PPC and perhaps mastering it or struggling with it, and also agencies who are thinking, hey, 2021 is my year to start expanding my agency and start offering that pretty potentially lucrative service that I'm not yet offering?
Yeah, so let's start with the clients that aren't currently offering PPC. So if you're not offering PPC, it's likely that you are absolutely spot on and amazing at either Facebook or SEO. And that's your main earner. That's where you bring it in. You then come into PPC, and your conception of PPC is very much, it's complicated and it's expensive. Okay. Now what we've been seeing as a business as a change is the fact that one thing about PPC is the predictability in it. So for SEO, you're going to get good quality leads and you're going to get them at a fraction of the price. However, you're going to be waiting 6-12 months, potentially even longer. Now, when it comes to PPC and specifically when it comes to end clients at the moment in time, what we are seeing is the end clients wanting results quicker. They're wanting impact a lot quicker, especially in certain times. So, for example, if we take England for the moment, we've got been in lockdown, we came out of lockdown, and we're about to go back into lockdown. So there's a lot of this unpredictability about what's going on. So clients want clients through the door very quickly. So if you're not offering PPC at the moment in time, it's definitely something you should look at. remember, you don't have to be the expert. There are people out there that can help. There are people out there that can assist. There's communities that we're in now, that if you ask for advice, people are open and willing to help you and support you in that. So that's exactly the same. When it comes to Facebook, if you're Facebook and you're an expert in Facebook, you've got the similar as SEO, except probably the unpredictability of the platform itself. Facebook can be really, really good and get you some incredible leads, but there is a lot to learn. There's a lot of unpredictability within that platform, and PPC can just help to create a foundation within that business. So if you're not currently doing it, I would look at something like that. It's something worth looking at.
Got you. And in terms of, do you have maybe 3 or 4 tips in terms of if you are not yet doing it for an agency, to say, hey, these are the 3 or 4 things that we burnt our fingers on first time, as we started, or when you've probably been doing it for years, but anything that they should look out for, particularly in 2021. I think I love what you said about 2021 is the time to do it with countries and COVID being what it is, people being forced to stay at home. Online, they're purchasing online, they're ordering online, they're doing a lot more online activity. So I agree with you, that's definitely the time to do it. What would your advice to them be to get going in those early days?
Yeah, so definitely get a foundation understanding of PPC. It's very core, very key that you get a foundation understanding. And I don't mean that you have to be an expert, but you have to understand what PPC is and what it offers compared to your platform. Because let's face it, guys, if we're all being honest, every end client should be doing all 3. We want them running Facebook, we want them running PPC, Google PPC, and we want them running SEO. So as long as you've got that, you put that into place. When it comes to the actual foundations of learning it, get into the MCC, create yourself an MCC account. It's super simple. It's really, really basic. It's far less complicated than Google, Facebook Business Manager, I promise you that. Go into there, have a bit of an explore and see what you can do. Talk about this in communities and reach out to people that have expertise within these specific niches you're working within. People are always willing to help.
Got you. And in terms of the difference, the different platforms, I mean, in terms of social media PPC and Google Ads PPC, any thoughts on that? Because I know I know that you're probably going to say audience, and where your audience is probably the best place to go. But Google Ads is still a place where everybody is. What would you advise one over the other in 2021, or is it kind of make a call on your own?
Yeah, so I would always go for Google. I'm a Google guy. I prefer Google. Again, one of the things I like about Google is everybody's there. Like 90% of your audience are going to be on Google. And the other thing about Google is the fact that when people are searching, they're searching with more intent than they are on Facebook. I'm sure everyone's aware that you're likely to get more leads through Facebook, but for your end client, it's sifting through those leads to find the quality. Whereas on Google, you're offering quality straight out. Now, I'm a bit biased because Google's my baby, Google's my beast. That's where I would spend most of my time. But that is one of the things I would start to look at and start to think about, definitely.
Got you. Yeah, and I think that's also so key. That's one of the key foundational things that whenever I talk to non-digital agency people, or even some digital agency people who don't do PPC, it's one of those core things that I always say is people click on Google Ads when there's a purchasing intent in mind. They don't click on ads, they click on SEO and the actual results when they're doing research. So it's all about where they are in your funnel. That will determine whether they're going to click on your ad. And I think that, but you've put it up quite nicely there about when they're clicking on Google, that you're getting much cleaner, much more direct leads, as opposed to Facebook, where we've all run Facebook ads and we know the what can we call it, rubbish. You can get a lot of crap out there. You get a lot of BS coming through, and a lot, as you say, you've got to sift through that. And at the end of the day, if you're trying to keep your end client happy, the better the leads at the better the price, the better the results you're going to get. Speaking of that price, anything you can add value to if agencies are concerned about which is the best place to advise their clients to spend in 2021?
Yeah, so when it comes to Google specifically, I would be looking at a minimum of $1,000 for ad spend on pretty much every niche. So there are caveats within that, and there are certain businesses that you would expect more. So for example, personal injury, you're looking at least double that normally to get a decent quality of leads, but that's where we're looking at as a minimum ad spend. Then when it comes to looking at charging your clients, it really does vary. Now, one of the things that I always advise people that I speak to talk about is talking about, okay, how many options here do you have to sell to your client? Okay, because if you're offering other services, this could be a foot in the door service. Okay, you could be offering, hey, look, I know it's difficult times at the moment. Let's put PPC in place. Let's put PPC in place because we know we're going to get leads quicker within the first 90 days. And then what we'll do is at the 90-day mark, we'll start to optimize for SEO. That makes the client feel comfortable because they're getting leads through the door and they're feeling comfortable about paying for their services. But also, you're getting your upsell. You're getting the one that you enjoy, SEO, Facebook down the line, when the client's already making money from you.
Got you. One last question. I mean, as I say, we try to keep it a bit short so that it's biteable and people can just check in, check out. One last question that I think is key. And as I said, I'm excited to talk about PPC, and it's something that I want to talk more about in the community because I think a lot of agencies have questions and a lot of agencies are involved in it. One last question. A lot of agencies that we speak to, or I know there's tons of people out there, whether it's end clients or agencies, tend to run a PPC campaign, stick it up there, say, hey, I'm running my ads, I'm getting my spend, I'm getting my leads coming through, but then nobody's converting. Only to find out later on that their ad that is not linking to anywhere but the homepage of their website. They haven't put together a landing page. They haven't put together any sort of funnel. There's no strategy behind it. Is there any advice you can give there? I mean, would you agree with me that it's obvious you need to have some form of capturing device behind an ad, Google ad or a Facebook ad? Or is there a strategy that you would suggest otherwise?
100%. You're exactly right, Stephen. This is something that we see all the time. It's sending clients to a web page. So on average, guys, and you probably know all this, but on average, a web page will convert around 3%. A good landing page will convert at a minimum of 10%. Man. So even if you were going into somebody that's already running PPC, the only thing you were to do was to put in a landing page in, you are going to increase their conversions dramatically. Yeah. And this is one of the things that you should always be looking at. You should never be sending ads to a landing page. It should be, a web page should always be going to a land page, some sort of funnel to capture that data, capture that leads. On that note, guys, I just want to add something quick in. Always add your pixels, something else that's missed off. Tracking. Always add your pixels to those landing pages because you want to capture that data for later on.
Beautiful. And of course, after that, the CRM, the nurturing, the email marketing, etc. Look, there's a lot. I mean, that's why it's so crazy that we haven't discussed PPC, but I'm excited that we have now. We've got it on the books, guys. This chat with Scott will be on our YouTube channel, on our podcast and Spotify. We'll put it out there. And keep an eye on our Twitter and Instagram, where we'll tweet out clips from the video and stick it in the community as well. So if you want to just catch the biteable pieces, we'll stick it out there. Scott, no doubt, I'm sure you're open to agencies connecting with you if they do have any more questions, they want to get a bit of a help out.
100%, guys. You'll find me on LinkedIn. Just go put Scott O'Brien on LinkedIn. Reach out to me for any questions. More than happy to help, point you in the direction, whatever you need.
Beautiful. We'll grab your socials after this and we'll stick it as a comment underneath the video in the community. But as I say, and then obviously on the YouTube channel and everywhere, Scott's details will be there, how you can contact him. And maybe we can get you back maybe just before the end of the year, potentially early next year, to discuss something a little bit more in depth, because I think there's a lot of value here.
100%. I think it'd be good to start in January and talk about some strategies we can put in place, some things that people can put in place to increase their clients, increase more business from their clients, but also the results, which is the main thing that we all want. Amazing.
Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Go quarantine yourself and don't go out for beer or anything.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Stephen, mate. Appreciate it, buddy.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Brilliant, Scott. Thanks so much.